Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I'm Tarina.
I'm Crystal.
I'm Shavaya.
And I'm Mashika.
And we are
Under the Influence.
So today our topic of discussion is the God in me. We're going to take an opportunity to tell you a little bit about our spiritual growth.
Well, I guess I'll start off. And my topic is going to be God be shown through me. So I think that I know that God is continually working through me. And as long as people can faintly see a resemblance of him through me, I feel like I'm doing something right. I think a lot of times in ministry and us as Christians, we forget the journey that we travel to get where we are. Mm-hmm. I feel like a lot of times people who are Christian, who have been saved for a while, they don't realize that everyone hadn't walked that walk. So people are still learning and navigating their way through their spiritual growth and their spiritual walk. So that's why I say, as long as people can remotely see him in me, I feel like I'm doing something right. I feel like people forget that they had bumps in the road along the way. You know what I mean? None of us are perfect. I know I ain't walked a straight and narrow path my whole life. I have messed up so many times. And we as Christians have to be welcoming to people who need to find that path, to find God, to see God. So that's why I try to live my life. I do some ratchet things sometimes. I have my moments sometimes, I'm sure. And somebody gonna probably say, she talking about God and she got on that little short shirt. Yes, I do. Yes. I do. I'm still growing and evolving every day. And I don't like, say that or like to present myself holier than anybody else. And, one sin is not any less than another. So, I feel like one of the things that I wish the older generation could see is that, we have to be less judgmental. Yes. And at the end of the day, only God can judge. He's the only one who can, judge. So I want to give y'all an example of something that I saw. So I visited this church, and it was this girl that came in church with a short skirt on. Like a short skirt, like something you would probably wear to the club. And when she walked in, everybody like,
ooh, sounds like my mother's church. Right? You know how they do it, they be.
So, I'm like, we don't know her story. Mm-hmm. We don't know if she don't know that what she has on is not fit for church. We don't know if she's ever stepped foot inside of a church. That's true. We as Christians, are our biggest enemy. We're supposed to be welcoming people to the kingdom. We're supposed to be leading people to God. Mm-hmm. And to me, that girl was a person who needed guidance. She needed to know, she needed to first feel welcome.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
First feel welcome. And so that's one of the things why I say, I've done some things. I've had kids out of wedlock. I never had the conversation, not to say, not downplaying my mother in any kind of way. My mother worked 3 jobs, so, she wasn't home. We did what we wanted to do, and it wasn't because, my mother wasn't there, but she really wasn't there. Mm-hmm. And I never had a conversation about, the birds and the bees, or you shouldn't have kids before you marry, and it's little stuff like that. Like, people don't know. Like, they don't know. So I just, if I can relate my life or be relatable to other people in my life, I feel like I'm doing my justice. I'm doing what God has for me to do. So that's all. Okay. The God in me. God be shown through me.
I love it. I actually experienced what you said just recently, Easter Sunday. You see people come in with the short clothes on and it make you want to go. But I had to check myself, like, you know what? Number one, she's here.
She in the right place. She where she's supposed to be. Where it ain't no mistake that she's there.
Yes.
And it's our job as Christians to help correct it. Have those conversations. Everybody don't have, strong Christian background.
It says come as you are, and believe it or not, for some people, that's what they have.
Right.
You know, that's their lifestyle. That's what they wear every day. So some people,
They don't see no
what it
wrong in
is,
it.
and they don't.
They don't see any wrong in it, you know? And again, who are we to judge?
I feel like God judges by our heart, and I feel like if we have a good heart, and you know He knows our heart, I feel like you shouldn't be judged. Like I feel like I was kind of ashamed to say that I date a woman, and I was scared how my mama reaction was gonna be to it, but it actually turned out to be wonderful because she loved her. Like she knows that she has a good heart, and she knows that she's a good person, and she treats me good. So I just feel like a lot of times people shouldn't judge people because everybody do stuff. I feel like all sins are the same.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's no bigger sin,
No
no
small.
smaller sin. So yeah, I feel like that's the God in me. Like I'm not perfect. I don't go to church every Sunday, but I do pray. I do read my scriptures every morning. I do have a relationship with God. I listen to my gospel music and worship, not just on Sunday. I might do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I might have to do it every day of the week.
Yes,
Because my job says my nerves up.
My husband tell my nerves in.
I have to have.
My kids tell my nerves up. I'm sorry.
Right, all of that. So it's like I need Him, and I feel like that no one should judge anybody. Everybody have their own relationship with God, and yeah.
And one of the things that I feel like people need to realize that it's a distinction between disagreeing and being judgmental. People, you can disagree all day, but at the end of the day, it's a fine line. People think because they disagree they're not judging, but a lot of times you really are judging.
So when I think about, the God in me, I think that's one of the characteristics that help me be a little bit more like God, because I find myself being non-biased. I feel like I'm not judgmental, and I have the ability to see both sides of the story. So if somebody's talking to me, I'm not going to just jump on their side and be against the person that they're speaking about, because at some point there's something that you may have done, or something that there may have been a misunderstanding, and when we're venting, we can sometimes just see our point of view and forget about the other person's point of view or the other person's feelings, and we tend to think that what I'm saying is right. So now I'm blindsided by everything else because in my mind I'm right. So I don't want to hear anything else you have to say.
Exactly.
And I feel like for me, I'm able to see when I do wrong or when others do wrong to me. I have the ability to just have a conversation with somebody and kind of reflect on what the other person may have been going through or what the other person may have been thinking about. So I feel like I'm somewhat of a godly peacemaker. Like I'm always trying to make peace or kind of keep
You
harmony
are
in a
always trying to
situation.
make
Yes, you
Unless
see the
she
good,
hungry.
you see the good. Yes, Lord.
When she hungry,
It's a different story. She got a Snickers today.
To sit on this couch, I had to get a Snickers.
I had a spinach salad waiting on you. Just in case, I was going to give you mine.
Girl, what
Because
that
I didn't have a
salad
Snicker.
But no, seriously, I feel like that's one of my godly characteristics, that I'm always trying to harmonize the situation and keep the peace. Like, I like to find the positive in the situation and not kind of dwell on the bad part of the situation or the things that's going to depress me or depress another person. You always got to look for that little bit of light and magnify it, because people always tend to magnify their problems and turn a little molehill into a mountain when it's something very small, but they keep making it big. And I tend to do the opposite. Like, even though it's a horrible situation, I would find that one good thing, and that would be the one good thing that I would dwell on until I was happy, and until I was turning it
peace.
around.
You know what I mean? When you don't hold on to stuff and don't dwell on stuff, it brings you an inner peace.
Yeah.
Right.
And ain't nothing like peace.
Oh, Jesus.
We need to shout.
Right.
Praise break.
Girl, don't get us to
Ain't
running
nothing
up
like
in
it.
here.
It's nothing like it.
So I think that's my godly ability, because
I think
it's who I am.
I don't know if that's the right word, but influential. Like, I feel like people draw to me, like, in ministry, like, cause y'all know I do ministry a lot. Like, people draw to me, like, people come to me, or, you know what I mean? So maybe that's what my godly quality is.
I just know that you give good advice, like myself. No, Dr. Phil, my non-biased advice.
At least you know.
Let's real here again. So
Dramatic.com.
That's another godly feature that I have. I can't put away my dramatics.
A godly feature.
God was dramatic. When he turned that water into wine, that was dramatic.
She is.
When he woke Lazarus up from the dead, that was dramatic.
I didn't get that.
Mm-hmm. That's all I got,
So, I guess it's on me. Well, let's see. The God in me. Whew, Lord. The God in me is still working on me. I'm going to say that.
We know.
Okay.
Oh, still working, love.
Okay, yeah. But anyway, yes, he definitely is still working on me all the time, every single day. The God in me definitely has brought me growth, spiritual growth, being able to find a place of peace. Just going through the things that I've gone through. I've been in some dark places. And, you know, he's shown me that at my worst, you know, I'm still at my best. Mm-hmm. You know, he's shown me that my worst is what he has for me. You know, I was in a very dark place and a very negative person. I was that person that you didn't want to be around. No matter, you know, what you said or how much you try to uplift, I was just in a bad place. But, you know, the God in me has brought me throughout so much to where, you know, I can find good in the worst, you know, on my worst day. You know, the God in me just makes my heart bigger, you know, full of joy, full of love. You know, sometimes y'all know how I can get, you know, when I'm on one and emotional and stuff like that. But it made me a little needy, but he's working on that too. He's working on that too. But you know, I just have to praise him because, you know, there have been times in my life I was going fast and he had to slow me down. Right. You know, God, he had to show me, you know, that he should be my first love. Mm-hmm. He should be my last love. Mm-hmm. You know, he taught me some tough lessons. Mm-hmm. He really did. He taught me some tough lessons. But I take all of that. I take all of that. I mean, the God in me has strengthened me, like really strengthened me. The words can't even explain. It really can't. He's given me breath, you know, when I couldn't breathe. You know, he gave me life when, honestly, I wanted to die. So, you know, I speak highly of him. I really do because, you know, the God in me, he's taught me victory throughout everything. Amen. You know, every experience. You know, I mean, he's calmed me down. He's calmed me down a lot because, y'all know how I be ready to tear some stuff up, but
we know.
You know. But he definitely, when I say working on me, he, you know, the God in me is definitely, you know, taming the tongue. Definitely taming the tongue and, you know, the anger and the craziness, the thoughts, you know, the hurt and the pain and all those different things. So, you know, I'm blessed and I thank him, you know. I thank him for the intimacy that we have, you know. Yes. You know, allowing me the opportunity when I've done wrong. You know, I mean, I'm honestly, I'm gonna say this. I mean, the old me would be searching for love, somebody near and dear, whatever, you know, someone to warm the bed. I'm gonna be honest, you know, and I haven't been in a relationship about 14, 15 months, and the God in me, bed alone, wake up alone, sex free, you know, so I've come a long way, you know, because, you know, I'm learning to, like I say, grow with him, have intimacy with him, you know, love him until he sends me that person. So thank you, God.
Oh yes.
It's peace
Gotta thank
in
God.
the name of Jesus. Y'all already started. No, for real. Like one of the things that I remember, like when I was going through breast cancer, and April 27th will be 3 years cancer free.
Yes.
So when I was going through breast cancer, like one of the things that people always said was like, why are you always so positive? This is your time to be down and, mad at the world.
People told you that?
Okay, no. People expect you to be down. People expect you to be in your feelings or emotions because you are going through, something. And a lot of people who go through cancer, that is their spirit. And the one thing that I remember is my focus was on God so much that it brought me a sense of peace. Regardless to what I was going through, I always knew that I would come out of it. I always knew that God had, I knew that God had already, the victory was already won.
Yes.
I knew that. I didn't know how, when, or what the situation was going to be, but I knew that. And that's why to today, I don't allow breast cancer to define me as a person. Yes, I went through breast cancer twice. Yes, but it's not who I am. So,
Yes.
A lot of people are like, you should speak about breast cancer. That's not me. It's not me. And there are some people who have been through it who could speak to people, will I give advice? Yes. If I know somebody that's going through it, yes. But that doesn't define me.
Yes.
So.
And I can definitely not speak on the cancer part, but going through it with her and stuff like that, because I remember the time where we were having a conversation, and the biggest thing for her was when Kaylin came to you and the kids came, and Mark has been the oldest, trying to be the strong one, and the kids were all trying to be strong, but the one thing was, it was like, Mommy, you're gonna die, and it was like not leaving her kids. So she claimed victory because it was like, I'm not leaving my kids.
Yes.
And the craziest thing about it was because she was going through all of that, and I was going through, it was my worst, but it wasn't that. And so it was, so when you have spiritual growth, you look back at things and you realize how little those things are compared to someone that's fighting for their life.
Yes.
And and she was going through those things, and I was going through mine, and it was times she was keeping me together. Keeping me together. So people do come and say that because they expect you to fall apart, because some of us, before we develop that relationship with God and that strength, that's what we do when we go through things. We fall apart and we forget, we lose faith, we walk away, blame, exactly, all of those different things. And I remember trying to figure out, like, let me get myself together, because this is a time for me to get her through this, because especially when you have children, you're not just fighting for yourself, you're fighting for everybody. You're fighting for them. And I know through a time just not going through that, just giving up, fighting for my daughter. So it's, me fighting for her, and then you're fighting for 3 beautiful kids. Like, it's a wonderful thing. Like, I had to, that taught me growth. That wanted me to go out and say, you know what, I need to soul search, and I need to rededicate my life to Christ. I need to change some things.
God has shown through me. See that honestly, that's why it's so important that we maintain, I'm not gonna say a God-like image, but I'm gonna say a God-like image, because none of us are perfect. We're gonna make mistakes, we're gonna fall, but there is always somebody watching, and it's always that somebody who can grow and learn and find God because of your story.
Yes.
Because of your story. That's why you always got to be conscious of every decision you make, how you carry yourself, how we carry ourselves, on this show. You know what I mean? Because you never know who is watching. You never know.
And I think ultimately when you're going through something, you have to make a decision. Like, you have to flip that switch in your head to ultimately say, that I'm not going to dwell in that negative place, that this is not going to be my outcome, that I'm going to have faith, that I'm going to believe that God is going to do something great in my life. I'm going to believe that this is not the end of the road, that this is not a closed door, that the story doesn't end here and that he is not finished. And once you flip that switch and you say, I know my God is going to get me through this. I know my God is bigger than this, then you're going to walk through it. And God is going to make you victorious.
And there's a lot of people out there who don't know how to flip that switch. So we tell y'all, flip that switch.
Flip the switch.
Yes,
Get to know God. Let him into your heart. It's a beautiful thing. Oh my God, it's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
You think about, sashaying through the storms with God right there with you. I'm telling you, it doesn't take away the problem, but it just makes it easier to navigate through.
It really does. Because I think we've all been through some things.
In closing, I guess I'll say, be a believer.
Be a blessing.
Be faithful.
And be godly.
And be
Under the influence.
But what they don't know is when you go home and get behind closed doors, man, you hit the floor, and what they can't see is your own